Hello everyone. I want to make a video today and show you guys my 2007 Toyota Tundra that's about to cross 400,000 miles, and I want to show you mechanical conditions. And we just got a new lift installed over there, so I'm going to drive it over there and put it up on the lift, show you guys everything I can about the mechanical condition. Anyone interested in how these trucks hold up, this is an 07 with the big 5.7 liter 3UR FE. We're about to do a cold start. It's about 45 degrees out, and there's cold start. Here is the odometer, 397,889, and here's oil pressure on a cold start. That's right where the oil pressure should be. I mean, you know, pretty consistent oil pressure on this truck, as you would expect. The leather interior is doing okay. I've got this wear here, and the steering wheel was pretty well worn out on top. This was the leather wrapped steering wheel for the limited model, and I wanted to find just a full replacement steering wheel, but really had a hard time finding a leather wrapped one for an 07 to 13 Tundra. And I did take the steering wheel off. I had it kind of reupholstered here by an upholstery guy, and that worked. Replaced the shift knob just for fun. It's got dual zone climate control. The dash is not cracked whatsoever, and that's always being parked out in the sun under my ownership. This is actually really high quality. I'm very impressed. I've been driving with a cracked windshield for years, never had a problem with it. I'm going to show you guys, before we put it on the lift, the best feature of the limited Tundra. Sliding rear window works perfectly. Not just the limited Tundra, SR5s get that too. All the power windows work. Honestly, every single feature works. Console still works. So let's go ahead and take it over to the lift. All right, so I shut the engine off. It's a little loud, especially on a cold start. One thing you may have noticed is there's a little bit of a ticking, and it does have some exhaust leaks. The manifolds are leaking a little bit. I'll explain that along with a couple other things. You can see sometimes I put notes when I replace stuff. This is actually the first time I replaced radiator under my ownership, was just back in June. And so a lot of things I still haven't done, like I bought this, as I've stated, I bought this truck with 250,000 miles on it in June of 2020, and it's now the end of 2024. I've driven it everywhere. It's been across the country many times. It's been to probably 25 different states. It's been between Kansas and Minnesota a lot, Kansas to Arizona, Kansas to California and back a number of times each. I've always trusted it. It's never let me down, and this is the same engine and transmission it left the factory with in 2007. I know this is actually not all that surprising for a second generation Tundra. 107 did $1 million on the original engine, and the transmission was rebuilt once. That was Victor Shepard's truck. That was a 4.7, which is the old 2UZ. This 5.7 is a 3UR FE. As you can see here, this is how Toyota designates the engine codes. I'm sure you guys know. UR is the more modern aluminum block Series V8. So this is a full aluminum motor, aluminum block, aluminum heads, dual overhead cams. So it's got 4 cams total and variable valve timing on each bank. So this is a timing chain motor. The 2UZ was a timing belt motor. So if anyone, sometimes people ask me like, how many timing belts? Well, 0. It doesn't have a belt. It has a series of timing chains in the front here. There's a front cover that hides them all. And the timing chains are untouched. In fact, the timing cover's never been off. And I've never even had the valve covers off under my ownership. You see like this kind of mess of wires here. This is the Hewitt bypass, secondary air injection pump bypass. It is a kit that I bought after I spent over $1,000 at a shop for them to repair valves in the secondary air injection pump. And then a few months after that, it went into limp mode again. Now, these are becoming more known for head gasket issues, and I'm a bit concerned that this one will eventually have that problem. But the good news is this has had fairly regular coolant exchanges and such. In fact, it leaked coolant for so long that the previous owner was always topping it off, so that helped keep it fresh. I've of course had the radiator done. I've had one water pump done, and those have helped keep the coolant fresh. You just don't want the coolant to turn acidic on a 3UR or a 1UR motor. Even the 2GR V6s have this issue where what happens is there are very narrow coolant passages, not that you can see anything here, but there's very narrow coolant passages that are quite close between cylinders like 7 and 8. And when the coolant can turn acidic, it can actually corrode the MLS head gasket. It's a multi-layer steel head gasket, and coolant becoming acidic is a possibility to slightly corrode it enough where it bypasses through the head gasket, and then you gotta take the heads off and all of that. So anyways, let's go ahead and put it up in the air. All right, she's down on the locks. For anyone curious, these are OEM wheels, Toyota wheels off a 2018 Tundra. They're 18s. A limited would have come with 20s. I like 18s. They ride better. You get a much thicker sidewall. And until recently, I was always running all-terrain tires. You'll see these are not all-terrains. They're Michelin's, just the LTX Defender, and they're really good. These, I can cruise at 80 miles an hour on these, and it's quiet. Let's go ahead and get into the frame. Now, it's dirty, but I want to show you guys. This thing is almost spotless. It's a dirty frame, yeah, because I've taken it on gravel roads, but take a look at the total lack of rust. And this is not because it's not a Midwestern truck. It is a Midwestern truck. I am in the lower Midwest, and it's been through 2 Minnesota winters. Certainly some surface rust is starting. And some of this I could probably treat, but there's really nothing major. The front of the exhaust is original. The rear, the muffler, I noticed it's starting to leak a little bit of condensation out. It had some rust on the bottom, so thought I'd put on a MagnaFlow, although it's really very similar to stock. It's just a very slight increase in the V8 noise. Here's the rear diff. Nothing's ever been resealed on here. It's completely leak-free. It has had the drive shaft balanced. That owner before me did that, somewhere around 200,000. Rear leaf springs, original. Rear shocks, I replaced the rear shocks because sometimes it got bouncy, and I just put some whatever O'Reilly's brand shock on here. I'm gonna go back to Bilstein eventually because Bilstein shocks are really, really good. Rear brakes, I did put one rear brake caliper on. You'll see over here that this caliper is a bit newer. The other one was kind of sticking a little bit. And I've been running power stop brakes for a long time. Power stop, drilled and slotted. They seem to perform really well. I've never had warped rotors since. I have over 100,000 on these rotors and over 100,000 on the front pads. And they're been really good. Front brake calipers are original. Let's mention the front suspension really quick. These, now you'll have a hard time seeing, but see a little bit of yellow there. Those are Bilsteins, and not only are they Bilsteins, they are the original Toyota Bilsteins. They say Toyota on them, and they're pretty rusty, they're pretty dirty, but they keep holding up, they're not leaking. I know they're original. They were never done before I bought it. It had all the factory Bilsteins on it at 250,000, and now at about 400,000, the front shocks are still doing just fine. Also, that's your tie rod is tight. Sway bar links, both sides. Sway bar links are tight. See right here, it says Toyota. That's a factory shock made by Bilstein, which is really cool. If you want to look for like leaks under here, you're gonna see it's pretty dry. Might need a flashlight to show you guys a little better. I've replaced the oil filter housing twice. Once it was cracked. I ran an aluminum oil filter housing for a while. You know, the Toyota plastic ones can crack, but it's really down to not over tightening it like most of the lube techs do. I know because I was a lube tech and I may have tightened a few of them too much, but I never broke one because you don't want to use a big ratchet on it. And you just, you know, take basic caution and just get it snug. That's all you need is your oil filter to be snug. Now, onto the transmission. It is slowly going out. Now, I drained and filled it 4 times here in May, and that helped it. I put Toyota WS fluid. This is a transmission pan, and the way I just did it is you just drain it out here. This is a check plug to check when it's at temperature, and then the fill plug is way up top. This is your transmission fill plug. It's a sealed, quote unquote, it's a sealed transmission. It just doesn't have a dipstick. So it's not that hard to service. You just measure exactly what drained out, and then you can use the check procedure at operating temperature to check your transmission fluid. And it's gone at times. It went over 100,000 miles between transmission services, and I believe if it was done at 60,000 like Toyota says, the transmission today would not have issues. But it does have an occasional rough shift. I think it's slowly going out, so I'm preparing to replace it. But still holding on, still tows, doing fine here. And the reason I drained and filled 4 times is because you can only get a couple quarts at a time, so you want to drain it, refill it, run the engine, drive it, you know, get the fluid circulating, and it'll mix with the rest of the fluid, and then drain it again, and you drain your slightly fresher mixed fluid out, and then do the same procedure, a total of 4 times, because you get about 3 quarts roughly, and the transmission is like roughly 12 quarts, so you can end up replacing all the fluid after the whole procedure. It's a little beat up in the back. The bumper in the bedside is dented. I actually bought it like this. Talked the guy down because I'm like, well, the entire bedside is messed up, and you know that's expensive to fix. Of course, I never fixed it because it's not, you know, it's not really necessary, and it'd be a lot of money to get that body work done. I am looking, if anyone knows of a rear passenger side door for a Blue Streak metallic Crew Max Tundra. I need a door. This one is messed up. It still works fine, but I've been looking for a door and I can't find one because apparently this is a very rare color and was only offered for 3 years from 07 to 2010. It's about all I have for you. It's really doesn't really need anything. I'm looking to drive it for as long as I can, so we'll see how long this truck lasts. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.